Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the Online Series 9 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we are trying out a really bulky STAKATAKA team. This actually finished second place in a major tournament in Korea back during Series 7, built by a player called Spring. I've linked their Twitter down in the description below. So this team is really interesting because it is a lot slower paced than a lot of teams that we've played with in Series 7 or Series 9, right? A lot of hyper offense exists in this format, but this is kind of the complete opposite. Games are going to go a lot longer with this team, anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes, because the whole idea is to basically apply pressure in the early game, but not actually do that much damage, and then clean up with Dynamax STAKATAKA in the last couple of turns of the game when you've already kind of whittled away at your opponent's team. So STAKATAKA is the clear star here, and to support it, you have a really fun support Spectrier set. We've already used support Spectrier. This one is even bulkier, max HP Ogwaff Berry, so it's actually pretty difficult to knock out and often will hang on when your opponents aren't expecting it to hang on. Now, support Spectrier is so valuable for a team like this because Will-O-Wisp and Snarl can easily shut down your opponent's max mons, especially if they're, feel baited to max in the early turns. Even a single Snarl, a single Will-O-Wisp will basically give you a huge advantage, and if you can come out of your opponent's Dynamax only losing like one Pokemon at best, that gives you such a big advantage with this team. So support Spectrier, really important, often is going to be led with this team. You have Incineroar, AV, Rillaboom, those are pretty classic. Goggles on Incineroar obviously helps against Amoonguss, which could be a little bit annoying otherwise. And then finally, to round out the team, you've got Choice Scarf Urshifu with Coaching, which I think is really fun. Scarf in general is just valuable. You think about, the number of like Landorses or Incineroars that are around, and Surging Strikes can just one-shot a lot of those if they don't max, for example. And then Comfey as the last Pokemon here for support. Normally when you see Comfey, you typically expect some kind of weakness policy setup. There's actually no weakness policy setup on this team, but it doesn't really need it, right? Because STAKATAKA is so powerful. Rillaboom sets up that grassy terrain, then Comfey can just heal all of its partners up using Floral Healing. It also is Helping Hand, which I think is a really underutilized attack just in general. That combos really nicely with STAKATAKA, and once again, you're really trying to play towards like a late game STAKATAKA sweep. Helping Hand, max Rockfall, Helping Hand, max Knuckle, right? STAKATAKA boosts itself so quickly, it can theoretically get 2 defense boosts per turn via max Steel Spike and Beast Boost, right? And then once STAKATAKA gets these boosts, well, late game Body Press is really, really difficult to deal with as well. And of course, you can max Knuckle the first turn or two to make sure that you KO with max Steel Spike or max Quake in subsequent turns of your Dynamax. So, I wanted to feature this team because, first of all, obviously it has had a really strong performance in a tournament in Korea. I've linked the results of that in the description below. But also just because I like featuring all kinds of different teams on Road to Rank, different play styles, and some players like hyper offense, some players like teams that are a lot bulkier. With a team like this, you are going to be more vulnerable to things like critical hits, and since, games will go on longer, and there's more error in terms of making mistakes, so you have to play very methodical, set yourself up for success. But overall, I think this is a very different change of pace from what we've seen a lot of in Series 7 and Series 9. So, huge thank you to Spring for the team. Details are in the description below, courtesy of Spring. There's a rental and a pace, and of course the link to all the amazing teams on Victory Road. And thank you to you all, as always, for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoy, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, someone wrote this as a potential question in yesterday's comment section, so shout outs to them. They asked, what stat would you drop on a top tier Pokemon to balance it? I think most people are going to say Regigigas, dropping its speed here. So any other answers other than Regigigas would be pretty interesting here. It's pretty interesting because I actually think, like, in general, most Pokemon in the format are actually, like, decently balanced. Like, there isn't, like, yeah, you see things like Klefki or Incin a lot, but it doesn't mean that they're, like, inherently, like, super broken where, like, you need to run it. So I don't know if I have a great answer to this, and I'm curious to see what everyone else comes up with. But either way, I've been rambling on long enough. Let's get started. Alright, getting into our first match of the day, and it's going to be Weezing and Regigigas. But there's also Coalossal. Blastoise here is interesting, because that's the second Aqua Jet user potentially into Coalossal. Weezing shuts down Comfey's ability, which is a little unfortunate for us. Scarf Urshifu here is actually very interesting, as well as Will-O-Wisp on Spectrier. Because my opponent doesn't have, like, a Dragapult, right? So I could pretty easily lead Fake Out plus Urshifu. Rillaboom Urshifu is interesting here, but let's say they go with Weezing Gigas, then Spectrier is really good. But if I lead Spectrier and they go with Coalossal, that could be a problem, right? Although, I suppose they can't deny us Trick Room. Like, if I go Spectrier or Comfey. The reason I want to lead Spectrier is because I can Will-O-Wisp Weezing, Regigigas, should they lead that. So maybe it's Spectrier plus a Fake Out user. Spectrier plus Rillaboom here works. I want to max STAKATAKA, and then I feel like I should probably bring Urshifu here. Yeah, I think this works. Definitely a cool team here. Weezing was one of my favorite archetypes back in Series 7, and I don't think we ever featured the team that finished second in the Players' Cup 2. That one featured Weezing, so we'll probably use that on the channel sometime in the next week or so. But I think the tough thing here to prepare for is both Weezing and the Coalossal combo, right? Like, my opponent's probably going to lead one of the two, and it is going to be Coalossal, okay? I mean, this is interesting, though, right? Because I have Rillaboom out, so it's obviously pretty easy to just go for, like, a Grassy Glide onto Blastoise. Turn 1 is actually very interesting here because Rillaboom could actually theoretically max and max Quake into Coalossal. Because we're Assault Vested. So, like, I could also fake out Blastoise, and, I mean, we have Snarl here, so Snarl's valuable. Because, like, I could just glide into Blastoise, too, and if I get a Snarl off, assuming I'm faster than Blastoise, I guess, is the question. I don't know, part of me really wants the Max Quake. If I'm my opponent with Blastoise, what would I do here? Fake out Max Flare into Rillaboom? Snarl. I'm gonna go for Snarl Glide, but, like, I get punished pretty heavily by them just clicking Fake Out. But they actually switch out Blastoise. Okay, so that's okay with me. I mean, it's a lot of free damage off immediately. And they're still gonna max Coalossal. Okay, so, like, this is where Max Quick would have been really good for us turn 1, because, like, well, I guess it would have activated Weakness Policy, so maybe it's not actually that good. But I get a bunch of free damage off, and more importantly, I get a special attack drop onto onto Coalossal. Because, like, at this point, I want to really play towards STAKATAKA. Yeah, and the next turn I can Will-O-Wisp into Rillaboom. This is a good switch, though. Which makes me really curious about the item on the Blastoise. But we end up getting more value by going for Glide than a Fake Out there. So Cole's at -1. Volcalith here would actually make a lot of sense into Spectrier. But they're just going to opt for Flare, which is fine by me. They're going to target down Rillaboom. And with the Assault Vest and the Snarl, it actually only does like 50%. Wow. Okay. Nice. So that's obviously pretty good for us. Now it's actually very interesting to consider Dynamaxing Rillaboom just for the purpose of going for a Max Quake here. I don't think Max Quake one-shots Coalossal, though. That's the problem. And then it would activate a Weakness Policy as well, and I would lose my Max, so it's probably not worth it. I like the idea of going for a Will-O-Wisp here onto the Rillaboom. And just going for a Grassy Glide here. I could U-turn Rillaboom, actually. Although if I'm U-turning, shouldn't I just Shadow Ball U-turn instead? I actually kind of like the idea of Shadow Ball U-turn here. Because we're playing towards max STAKATAKA right now, right? So Shadow Ball plus U-turn will probably KO this thing. Like, why go for a burn if I can just knock it out right now? They might go for Fake Out here onto Rillaboom, but that's fine. You could also be incentivized to maybe go for a Grassy Glide here. Either way, I could pivot Rillaboom out into my Urshifu in the back right now. Yeah, so they're going to go for Glide. We are pretty defensive here, so nice. Spectre hangs on. This is max HP Spectre, by the way, so yeah. Which makes sense, right, because we don't have the Focus Sash here. So we'll get the knockout here onto Rillaboom. That's already 2 turns of my opponent's max down. I guess the problem is, okay, so we can go into Cole right now. But now they can bring Blastoise back out and then Aqua Jet. Which is pretty scary. My other question is how fast their Coalossal is. Like, do you surely outspeed Choice Scarf Urshifu, right? Yep, they go for Volcalith here. Ideally, they actually knock out the Spectrier. Okay, perfect. Yeah, by picking up that knockout, now I get a free switch in, right? So I can just go back out into Rillaboom. And if I go out into Rillaboom, then you can't go for a Aqua Jet onto your own Coalossal. So yeah, like, I'll probably lose the numbers advantage early on, but that's okay because max STAKATAKA is going to be amazing for us in this endgame. Theoretically, I could just also bring out STAKATAKA right now and go for Coaching Max Rockfall, but I think I'd prefer to go to Rillaboom right now. As long as we don't lose 2 Pokemon this next turn, we should be in very good shape. Yep, so they go back out to Blastoise. Now I can consider Fake Out. We have close combat here. I don't mind just going for Grassy Glide once again onto Blastoise. And... oh, I could U-turn here. The idea of U-turn is actually really interesting because then I pivot Urshifu out into STAKATAKA, and then I can start coaching STAKATAKA. Okay, I'm actually kind of down for that. Yeah. So let's see. Blastoise is going to go for the fake out here. Onto Urshifu though. Okay, cool. So I'll get a knockout here onto Blastoise now. Assuming it's not focused. Oh, it's actually bulky enough to survive that. Whoa. And they actually have Max Overgrowth. Okay, we don't see Max Overgrowth that much these days because a lot of players like running Max Quake. But that's fine. The main thing here, I'm actually really impressed the Blastoise hung on from the... yeah, hung on from that. I did not expect that. Okay. Either way, though, this is fine. In fact, if I U-turn there, I would have ended up switching in Stack on a Max Overgrowth, although they're at -1, so honestly don't think it does that much damage, plus we would have KO'd Blastoise. Although, actually, if they just went for Aqua Jet there, they would have gotten it off successfully, wildly enough, because, yeah, Blastoise is bulky enough to hang on from that. Very impressive. Okay, so now we have Max Stackataka, though, and that's exactly what we were looking for this entire time. So it's pretty easy to just go for the Grassy Glide here onto Blastoise. Max. It is scary to activate a policy by Rock Falling Coalossal, but, like, do I really need to worry about that? What's my... oh, wait. I have to consider that their last one is probably going to be... their last one's going to be Urshifu, isn't it? Meaning I need to maybe Trick Room here. Glide on a Blastoise. I just went for Rockfall. I don't think that's the right play. But I don't know if I don't think Close Combat one-shots us. If it's Urshifu in the last... it's always Urshifu as their last one, though, right? There's no way they go Weezing. It's not going to be Weezing or Gigas. So, like, endgame Sakataka isn't as strong as I actually initially really thought it would be. I also don't know if Max Rockfall one-shots here. Okay. I also could have doubled up onto Coalossal. I could have gone for Trick Room this turn. But then we take a Heat Wave. Yeah, maybe Trick Room this turn was correct. Like, if Rockfall... I don't think Rockfall one-shots here. That's the problem. But the Coalossal doesn't have a ground-type attack, so we don't really need to be that worried about it. Oh, it does one-shot. Never mind. Okay, nice. So now it's a 1v1 against whatever their last one is. We set up the Sand, so that breaks a potential Sash. I was thinking about Steel Spiking there for defense boost, but I don't know. I feel like we should survive a close combat here from Urshifu, especially because we get a defense boost. So actually, with the defense boost, I'm fairly confident we'll survive. So then we just go for Max Knuckle or Max Steel Spike, depending on which Urshifu. It should be Water Urshifu, right? Wait, Water Urshifu makes it tougher, doesn't it? Oh no, it's Dark. Okay. Wait, Steel Spike does 130 plus same type attack bonus, 195. Max Knuckle does 180. But they are the correct play here is to Wicked Blow first, not Close Combat, because with Close Combat, I'll one-shot you in return. Let's just Steel Spike here for more damage. Yeah, we should survive a Close Combat. I guess they could be Choice Banded. Yeah, they do correctly Wicked Blow. I don't even know if especially because we're getting another defense boost. Actually, Close Combat's not going to KO, so I think we have this wrapped up unless they crit Close Combat. Yeah. We get a defense boost here. Okay, the only thing to consider now is if they protect this next turn, but protect the damage should actually just KO with Sand. So yeah, Max Stack here is really interesting, right? No more terrain, so no more recovery for them. We're at +2 defense, so Close Combat definitely shouldn't KO us unless you crit. And we just always go for Steel Spike here. Yeah. Okay, that works for me. Water Urshifu would have made things a little bit more interesting. They are just going to go for Close Combat, but with those defense boosts, yeah, there's nothing that it can do. So, like, Coalossal, well, I was going to say Coalossal protecting would have been interesting, but if it protected, I activate Policy, but then Rillaboom still sticks around for a little bit longer. So, yeah. This Stack is basically like max HP, max attack here. And in the end, you know, I wanted to make sure I brought Spectrier to deal with the potential Regigigas, because otherwise Regigigas could be a really, really big problem. So like having access to Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, and Snarl just gives us like such a diverse move pool, right? And the max bulk was really helpful here as well. So yeah, Life Orb Gigas with Protect. Not Speedy Weezing, interestingly enough. I really like max speed Weezing. AV Blastoise with Water Spout, Aqua Jet, Scald Fake Out, Gigantamax. Focus Sash Urshifu, pretty standard. Miracle Seed Rillaboom, pretty standard. And then Weakness Policy with the Solar Beam. So this game would have been pretty interesting if I actually ended up getting the U-turn off. They also could have just went for Aqua Jet rather than Fake Out. Can definitely understand why they went for Fake Out in that position. I didn't think they would survive the Glide. I'm not sure if they did either. Either way, that was a very impressive survival. So like Coalossal could have gotten activated in this game, and that could have been a little bit scarier. But yeah, ultimately, I think, you know, we once again play towards our late game max. The Spectrier support once again is so valuable because you can either burn a physical Maxmon like Regigigas or Snarl something like Coalossal, right? Either way, on turn 1, if your opponent chooses to max, you can probably drop their stats, and that means you can stall it out a little bit easier and play towards the late game max, and that's exactly what we did in this one. So yeah, either way, let's look for our next game here. Next match of the day, and we have a Klefki. Okay, haven't seen that in a really long time. Honestly, don't know what it's really up to these days. I mean, before people would use it for screens. I think you have Switcheroo. Screech for Fake Tears? I don't think it actually gets access to both of those, but yeah, something like that. Really cool team. Arcanine, the Dusclops, Fini, Zapdos, Lapras, and not Comfey, Klefki. So STAKATAKA is clearly what we play towards. Support Spectre is actually really good here. They don't have Fake Out, which is actually a really big deal. I'm just wondering if there's any cool stuff we can do with coaching in this one. But, like, we definitely want to, like, they don't have any Ghost Resist, so, like, Spectre alone is valuable. I'm thinking of leading Fake Out plus Spectre, that way I could just, like, Fake Out Taunt, keep calling Comfey, Klefki should they lead it. So, Rillaboom, Spectrier, STAKATAKA in the back. Like, we basically try to play towards a late game STAKATAKA sweep. I don't know, Comfey's kind of nice, because it makes STAKATAKA so difficult to KO. I can keep healing it up. Intimidate's not valuable for us here, so I don't think it's Incineroar. And Urshifu, if I bring it, it's only for a single coaching. So I think it's Comfey here, especially because it has Helping Hand as well. So ideally, like, if they lead Klefki, turn 1 we can Fake Out Taunt it. It could be Mentor, I guess. Like, maybe I don't want to do that. Mentor would actually make a lot of sense. Alternatively, we could treat Klefki as kind of like a support, you know, unit where it doesn't do any damage and just target around it, right? Like, whatever my opponent brings in next to it. We can just target it down, right, with like a Snarl. There's Lapras and Arcanine. Okay, Lapras, Arcanine. Pretty good lead from my opponent. I mean, I'm free to Fake Out Snarl turn 1. Only question is, are you going to be Weakness Policy here on Lapras? Because if so, I'm a little bit more hesitant to click Grassy Glide straight on turn 1. Either way, I think it's acceptable to start the game off with a Snarl. It's just whether or not I want to go for a Glide right away. Glide is good damage, though, honestly. I could also Fake Out the Arcanine here. Fake Out Arcanine, Snarl, then Resonance probably doesn't KO us. I don't have to risk Policy on turn 1, at least. I don't know. Life Orb makes a lot of sense here, too. STAKATAKA does pretty well into Lapras, though, once we Snarled a bunch. So I think turn 1 I'm fine to Snarl and Fake Out into Arcanine here. I could see Lapras protecting or switching out as Arcanine goes for like a Will-O-Wisp onto Rillaboom, but it looks like they're going to go for the max, which is fine. Like, we have, with Snarl, Spectre alone here, we have enough firepower. Or not firepower, but like defense to stall out the early turns, I think. You know what could have been pretty fun here as a lead, though? Urshifu plus Rillaboom, because we could have just gone straight for Surging Strikes into the Arcanine, and then max Rillaboom and go for max Grass onto Lapras. But I'm fine with this. I guess the only downside is if we miss a Snarl on Lapras, but we're going to connect. And once again, this is the beauty, right? This is exactly like that last game, where even just a single special attack drop on a special Maxmon that doesn't have that much offense to begin with gives us a pretty good advantage, honestly. So yes, they get screens up, but now I don't have to deal with the potential Weakness Policy, at least on turn 1, and they do just over 50% there. I'm wondering if we can survive another one after a second Snarl. That'd be kind of nice. We're definitely going to go for another Snarl again. We don't see an item there, so it's not Life Orb, which typically then means it's either going to be Policy or Light Clay, one of the two. Both make sense here. I don't want to risk activating a Policy, because that just accelerates the game way too quickly, so Snarl here... Snarl here and switching out into Comfey honestly feels okay to me. Yeah. And then with Comfey out, I can Snarl Trick Room the next turn, and then we get STAKATAKA under Trick Room and just sweep. I think that's what I'm positioning for right now. So, you know, we've utilized Support Spectre before, but man, the Snarl's such a game changer here. I think, like, people just, like, don't expect it very much still, and it gives us such a big advantage. Like, you know, now my opponent's Maximon in Lapras is already at -2, right? You're really not doing that much damage to us. Arcanine returns with a Snarl of its own, but that's fine because we're not using Spectre for damage right now, right? The other cool thing is by switching out Rillaboom, I can potentially go for a Floral Healing onto it later on to heal it all the way back up, and theoretically even potentially max it. They go for another Resonance here. Comfey is going to switch in, 154 down to 108, so around, what, 46 damage? And, yeah, that's not bad. I can just go for a third Snarl, and that's my opponent's max already over, right? I guess the only awkward thing here is do I actually want to click Trick Room? Because if I click Trick Room here, I'm stuck with Spectrier under Trick Room, which is a little bit weird. And the longer this game goes, I think the more it is in our favor. I could also taunt here onto Arcanine. If you're my opponent, you now what? Geyser into Comfey? I could switch Comfey back out, baiting the Geyser, go back out into Rillaboom. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. It's just setting up Trick Room here is a little bit awkward. I'm honestly down to go for the Snarl and switch back out here. Actually, I don't think that's a great play, because if it's Flare Blitz Arcanine and they just Flare Blitz Comfey, we just lose Rillaboom. Although then it gives us a free switch in and a STAKATAKA, to which then I can taunt Trick Room. So it's not that bad, but I don't know if I like this play too much. I think the only awkward thing here is, yeah, what do I do with Comfey and Spectre out on the field at the same time? Now, some Arcanines run Flare Blitz, others run Flamethrower. This one is going to be Flare Blitz, so yeah, this was the risk, but like, honestly, it's fine. I don't think Rillaboom is actually that important in this game, past the beginning, because we were able to just, you know, put on pressure, set up grassy terrain, which means we can potentially use that for recovery later on. They're going to Geyser now, but now they're at -3, so we're really not doing that much. Yeah, that does nothing. I guess, though, the awkward thing is now I have to bring out Comfey or STAKATAKA anyway, so, like, maybe I should have just stayed in. Although, like, I'm not sure we actually could have survived a Flare Blitz. Now that the rain is up, you're definitely not KOing us with Flare Blitz. So I can go for... It's just tough, because, like, I want to set up Trick Room, obviously, right? And then sweep with STAKATAKA under Trick Room. But it might be better to just bring STAKATAKA out and max it right now. My alternatives to go to Comfey and Trick Room. But I don't have a free switch in here. Like, the lack of getting a free switch in actually makes this really awkward. But Lapras is at -3 right now. We can taunt Arcanine to prevent it from Will-O-Wisping us. Taunt it, Max, and Rockfall. I'm still playing around Lapras' weakness policy, but I don't know if I need to be that careful. And the thing is, then I could switch Spectre out into Comfey and then heal back STAKATAKA with Floral Healing here. And Lapras is at -3. I mean, Hydro Pump in range still is definitely going to hurt, but it's not going to KO us at -3. Ideally, Arcanine stays in here trying to go for a Will-O-Wisp on a STAKATAKA. We just pick up a knockout onto it and get a defense boost along the way and change the weather. That would be perfect. Changing the weather here is a really big deal, right? But I could see, I could definitely see Arcanine, or sorry, yeah, Arcanine switching out here to conserve Intimidate, but they're going to switch out Lapras. That's actually great. Into, what is that? Dusclops, okay. So this is, the Dusclops is definitely scary. Like, I actually led Spectre to try to deal with Dusclops, right? And with them having multiple turns of max, or sorry, of screens left, well, we'll see whether it's Light Clay or not after this next turn, because that would be turn 5. But we should KO Arcanine here still, which is good. This is the downside of losing Rillaboom the way I did, though, because it's like if I had... Okay, good. They don't go for a Protect. We get the Taunt off. I think it should be Will-O-Wisp coming out here. No, it's actually Wild Charge. Wow, okay. I mean, I don't mind that. We basically heal all the way back up from Grassy Terrain in 2 turns anyway, so I think it was worthwhile for my opponent to maybe consider switching Arcanine out there just to get an Intimidate off. Dealing with this Dusclops might be a little bit painful, honestly. Like, Dusclops with Resonance up is so bulky. Like, regular Dusclops is bulky as is, right? Could I have denied Resonance turn 1? I mean, I had no way to one-shot the Lapras, right? Yeah, not really. Now I have Taunt on this thing. If you bring Lapras back out now, like, this is where I wish we were Weakness Policy. Imagine if we were, like, Bulldoze Weakness Policy. That would be super sick in this position. But Shuka is obviously just good insurance against most things that you'll go up against. The Spectrier does damage into the Dusclops, though, right? Like, Shadow Ball actually still hurts it a fair amount, even though we're not, hyper offensive with Spectrier here. Lapras doesn't scare me that much right now. If you're my opponent, you shouldn't bring Lapras out, because what you want to do is stall out my Dynamax and then try to utilize Lapras. We don't have Max Quake, so no special defense boosts here. But we have Max Knuckle, so attack boosts. That's valuable in STAKATAKA. We'll probably actually want to just keep boosting its defense, although I can't Body Press. Okay, and they bring out Zapdos as their last one, which I'm happy to see. -1 special attack, -1 attack. I mean, I don't, like, care if this thing Trick Rooms, right? My only fear is if it Will-O-Wisps, but I've revealed Taunt now, too. So the play I lean towards it here is Snarl and just Rockfall onto the Zapdos. They might protect Zapdos here. Okay, they don't. That's actually really good for us. I would think Rockfall KOs even with screens up, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Either way, with Snarl now, I don't think a T-Bolt KOs the Spectrier. They go for Hurricane. Wow, okay, that's very high risk, but it doesn't do that much. And gets the confusion, so not exactly the... Wow, they actually had Will-O-Wisp, and they go for it despite me having Taunt. I guess I should have just taunted to cover for that, then. I got punished for that. Yeah, that's really rough. We wouldn't have KO'd Zapdos anyway, but that makes this game a lot harder. Especially because I'm confused. That's, like, my main concern right now. Beating the Dusclops is going to be a pain. So, I haven't seen Will-O-Wisp Dusclops in a while. I should have taunted just to be safe there. I was thinking because I'd reveal Taunt, they weren't going to go for it, but my opponent probably realized they weren't going to win the game unless they burned STAKATAKA there, so I should have just taunted. It is, yeah, screens. So we have a defense boost here. Sand is still up, so we can deal with Lapras. I feel forced to switch out here, honestly, because of the confusion. Go out in a Comfey and go for... We play towards defense boosts right now, honestly. I think I'm going to Steel Spike Zapdos, so then I can Body Press it. But the burn is just so bad. I should have just taunted Dusclops. I just really didn't think it'd run Will-O-Wisp, and I didn't think it'd go for it. But, yeah, because I'd revealed Taunt, but it doesn't make that much sense to cover for it. They ally switch. Oh, gosh. Ally switch Will-O-Wisp and Roost on Zapdos. Oh boy. I don't know if I can do enough damage to my opponent right now. Yeah, honestly, even if I had taunted Dusclops, like, I feel like we just don't have enough, like, because we can't boost our attacking stats unless we max Knuckle. And the Light Clay makes things a lot harder too, so... I had to approach this match completely differently, I guess. Oh, Ally Switch makes things trickier too. What's the moveset then? Ally Switch, Will-O-Wisp, Nightshade, Trick Room? Maybe it's probably not running Trick Room then. That's my best bet. 2 turns of Aurora Veil up. We are +2 defense, but we're burnt. Since that -1 special attack. I mean, Spectrier is still good. Like, this game is not over by any means, right? So, like, let's not give up. Okay, I like Trick Rooming here and Rock Sliding. And then Trick Room, Rock Slide, Helping Hand, Rock Slide. Maybe that's enough to KO Zapdos. Okay, the Eerie Impulse, Roost, Hurricane, and probably Thunderbolt. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Eerie Impulse there too much. And Will-O-Wisp. Okay. I mean, that's fine. Like... Do you not have Nightshade on Dusclops then? And we miss Rock Slide. Oh, gosh, okay. Oh, that's not fun. I don't know if Rock Slide plus Helping Hand Rock Slide KO Zapdos anyway. Like, we probably need 2 Rock Slides into that slot anyway, so, like, yeah. What we need to do, basically, is stall out Trick Room and put Dusclops in KO range from a Shadow Ball from Spectrier. That's, like, what we're playing towards right now, but... Yeah, like, I always talk about how Will-O-Wisp is kind of an underrated move, so my opponent's Dusclops having it here was a really big deal. I should have just taunted it. +2 defense, last turn a Sandstorm, that doesn't bode well for us. I'm gonna Helping Hand Rock Slide here. The fact Zapdos is Roost, too, is, like, what makes this even tougher. Because, like, I just can't break through their defense right now. I think we brought the right Pokemon. Incineroar wasn't gonna do much for us here. And... Urshifu would have been cool as a lead. That's basically it, but... I feel like Burn plus Screens is basically the worst case scenario for something like STAKATAKA here. So, yeah. Wish I could heal the Burn off somehow, but I can't. So, I'm just really curious on Dusclops' moveset now. Like, what are the rest of your attacks? Because, like, I feel like Will-O-Wisp being... Are you kidding me? Yeah, I actually really needed that one to hit. They had Nightshade, so I don't understand why they Will-O-Wisp into Comfey earlier. Discharges their attack. Huh. That missing Zapdos there is really frustrating. I think that loses us the game. Well, we could still flinch, I guess, this next turn, right? Roarville finally wears off. I do have the Agua Berry here, so there's actually a decent chance they end up activating the berry. But I don't think I can win the game now unless I flinch. Hold on, I actually could reverse Trick Room. Reverse Trick Room, Shadow Ball. It's just I haven't done damage into Zapdos. Okay, we know it's Discharge Zapdos too. Yeah, honestly, I'm thinking Shadow Ball and... Actually, maybe we just try to flinch them under Trick Room. Maybe that's better. Okay, Rock Slide finally hits Zapdos this time around, but really not doing that much. Okay. No flinch. They're gonna Nightshade us. But that'll actually activate our berry. Yeah, honestly, if we get a flinch here onto Zapdos, maybe we're still in it. Okay. Well, now I get the Shadow Ball off. I probably need another one, though, right? Okay, the Dusclops. I'd rather have just, like, not had to deal with flinches and just connected the last 2 Rock Slides instead, but I'll take it. The only question is whether... See, what's also interesting is we know it's Discharge Zapdos. If you want to go for Electric-type damage, you actually have to hit your own Lapras. That actually does a lot of damage, too. The other question right now is, yeah, do we play towards Rock Slide? I have Body Press, but with... we don't do enough into Zapdos. So I think we hope for a single flinch here. +1 special attack. I think I Shadow Ball Zapdos here in Rock Slide, because we know it doesn't have Protect. I could definitely see Lapras protecting here. That's so good that it protects, actually. Because I don't think Discharge KOs Spectrier. I'm also running out of PP on Rock Slide. Flinch here wins us the game, I think. So let's see if we can make up for those misses earlier. Oh! Oh my gosh. Okay, I said it wins us the game, but it's not over yet. Because Lapras can still crit onto onto Spectrier. Well, actually, maybe Hydro Pump just KOs us anyway. So then the question now begs, do I Rock Slide or Body Press? How many turns of Trick Room are left? You always target Spectrier if you're my opponent right now. +2 defense. So we need a I mean, they're not that offensive, right? So like, Shadow Ball here, and just Body Press. We could I think actually Rock Slide might be better because it's like 27% chance to win the game off of connecting and flinching. Oh, that did a lot. Okay, they are gonna connect Hydro. They target Spectrier. Do we survive? The Spectrier is so clutch. Oh, I don't know. I mean, obviously we got very lucky to double flinch there. I I feel like the Rock Slide damage would have added up, but then they could have, of course, roosted rather than going for Discharge. I mean, this is why Rock Slide's such a crazy good move in Pokemon, right? That's why you don't give up. I think I like Rock Sliding there in the end game more. Although, no. The thing about if I go for Body Press there, even if Hydro Pump connects and KOs, you basically need to hit two Hydro Pumps, and the odds of that aren't, like, I mean, they're still good. They're in my opponent's favor, right? 64% chance, because 80% chance to hit one, so 64 to connect on both. But, you know, if I go for Rock Slide there, it does give me a 27% chance to win the game immediately. But then if we don't flinch and they actually KO Spectrier, we just lose, right? We would need them to miss twice. Yeah. Well, but then actually Rock Slide does do a little bit of damage, but I don't think it's enough for Body Press to KO afterwards. So, either way, I mean, that was a wild game. I think, like, because the Stakataka can't increase its attack stat very easily, combination of Intimidate, Burn, add up really quickly, and I should have just gone for Taunt onto Dusclops earlier in the game. So, it would have been really interesting to see how this how it would have played out if, like, the burns, if I connected the Rock Slides and didn't get the flinches. I think we definitely got luckier there in the end, right? Like, although I guess the odds of Rock Slide missing twice are a lot lower than flinching twice, right? Not a lot lower, but somewhat lower. Either way, like, yeah, I mean, that was not a clean game by any means, and I just, like, wasn't very prepared for dealing with 8 turns of screens. Plus Will-O-Wisp. Like, the burn was the main thing, right? If we don't get burned, Stakataka at least can actually do a sizable amount, and Body Press still KOs Lapras there in the end. So, I would have made this match a lot easier for myself if I just taunted onto Dusclops. I just kind of underestimated Will-O-Wisp, didn't fully expect it, and it actually ended up coming out. Either way, that was a real doozy, but let's play a third game here. Last game of the day, and it's a Garchomp team. Okay, very cool. I actually think the team we're using lost to a Garchomp team at the finals of the tournament, so that's pretty tough. Because Stakataka doesn't like going up, like, actually this does not look like an easy matchup for us, especially because their Grimmsnarl probably also has screens. Like, ideally we eliminate Grimmsnarl. Spectrier is going to be very valuable for us here with Will-O-Wisp. Like, the thing is, we could totally still bring Stakataka, right? Because if we max Steel Spike a bunch, then Body Press in the late game is really good. We also haven't used Coaching Urshifu today. I wonder if there's anything we can do with that. Like, what if I just lead Urshifu plus Stakataka? It's actually pretty interesting. I feel like we should be leading Spectrier, though. Although, if I expect Grimmsnarl lead from them... I don't think we bring Incineroar. Yes, it has Intimidate, but the only thing it gives us value up against is Garchomp. And, like, that's helpful, but I don't know if it's helpful enough. I feel like I really want to bring Rillaboom, Comfey, Stakataka... Okay. As much as I want the Urshifu here, I think I'm going to go Rillaboom, Spectrier, Comfey, Stakataka. So the idea here is, hey, Spectrier can disrupt in the early game. Rillaboom can provide fake out pressure. That's really helpful in dealing with Grimmsnarl. And I have Stakataka or I have Comfey to heal Stakataka later on. So yeah. That is the plan here. Let's see if it works out, though. Grimmsnarl or Metagross? I don't know. Like, you should expect Will-O-Wisp here. Or Max Phantasm, right? So from my opponent's perspective, it makes so much sense to switch Metagross out into Tapu Fini. Or switch Grimmsnarl out into Tapu Fini, actually. Okay, let's say we assume Grim does go into Fini. How do we play around that? Oh, this is not good. Unless they didn't bring Fini for some reason. But, like, if I gamble Will-O-Wisp and they end up having Fini, it's not great, right? I guess Will-O-Wisp U-turn here works, but Metagross could easily Steel Spike. Okay, well, they just protect. I'm okay with that. My light screen. I mean, I could have gone Fake Out or Glide on a Grimmsnarl, but it's not that big of a deal. Wait, hold on. Now this is interesting. This is super interesting. I'll tell you why. I can bring out Stakataka right now, baiting them to switch out into Tapu Fini. But because Stakataka is slower than Grimmsnarl, it'll actually switch out after Grimmsnarl. So if you switch Grim out into Fini, well, Stakataka then goes out into Rillaboom, and then Grassy Terrain is up, meaning we actually can Will-O-Wisp. I'm honestly not opposed to that. They could switch Metagross out into Fini, but if they do that, then I just have Rillaboom out against Fini. I'm gonna go for it because it's a very, like, I don't think we lose that much. There it is. Show me Tapu Fini. Nice. I'm so glad I get to feature that mechanic. Now we just need to not miss Will-O-Wisp. Because if we hit, they're going to max Metagross here probably. We just win the game off that, it feels like. Like, yeah, they have screens, but they don't do enough damage now. Okay. Please don't miss this Spectrier. I need just hit one time. One time right now. And they max too, so if we hit, like, it really feels like it's game over. Now, even, like, we probably survive a Steel Spike anyway, so even if we miss, it's actually not the end of the world, honestly. But hitting here just feels like it ensures us the game, as long as we don't throw or choke in the end game. Okay. Oh, thank God. Okay, is it Lum, actually? I mean, Lum is so rare on Metagross. Okay, nice. That felt really good. Super happy to show off that, like, potential play. We actually would have survived anyway, which is what I was saying, like, because it's max HP Spectrier. So, just to explain what happened there, the way switches work is in terms of speed, right? So, because STAKATAKA is the slowest Pokemon on the field relative to Grimmsnarl, it will switch out after Grimmsnarl. So, Grimmsnarl goes out first, then STAKATAKA. So, you know, speeds do, like, speeds when it comes to switches, like, are relevant, especially in terms of making a play like that. There's also a lot of stuff you can do with, like, U-turn and Intimidate, for example, but yeah. Either way, that's exactly what we wanted this turn. Let's see, they didn't even get Reflect up, right? Fini probably protects here. I don't want to Snarl because I don't want to activate Weakness Policy, right? They might Steel Spike again, but then that would actually activate our Berry. Honestly, I'm just down to Shadow Ball into Fini. Like, Fini probably protects here, but whatever. I don't care if it protects, because you're not KOing us anyway. Okay, they switch out, which is even better for us, because there's a lot of free damage here into Grimmsnarl. Yeah, Grimmsnarl might just faint from Shadow Ball plus Glide, honestly. I suspect it'll hang on with a little bit, because we don't have, like, Miracle Seed here. Actually, that was more than it took that better than I expected. Either way, though, now that we've burned Metagross, all we need to do is stall out the Dynamax and then play towards max stack attack under Trick Room. And if there's Steel Spiking Spectrier, we're going to survive, and then it's going to activate our Berry. Nice. This bulky Spectrier set is amazing. Like, the moveset isn't anything new, right? But the EV spread here is awesome. It's max HP, and that allows us to survive so much. Like, turning Spectrier, which a lot of people just, like, don't expect to be a fully support mon, and then, like, turning it into a support mon is awesome. So, yeah, I mean, Spectrier now is almost at 50% again. Might even survive another Steel Spike. I think it's probably a damage roll. Grimmsnarl didn't fake out turn 1. They went for only a Light Screen, and then they switched out. Metagross is one more turn of max. I mean, the annoying thing is that Metagross has all these defense boosts. We could actually theoretically max Spectre in this endgame. Actually, it's a very decent max mon if they don't have Incineroar. And if they didn't, I feel like you would have switched an Incin there that last turn if you had it, right? So, I actually want to switch out here into Stakataka because I want, like, with Comfey, we can heal Spectre all the way back to full, right? So, we can switch out here, go into Stakataka right now, and go for a Glide onto Grimmsnarl. Actually, how many turns of terrain are left? Oh, there's still 3. Okay. Yeah, I'm down to go into Stakataka here and go for a Glide on a Grimmsnarl. What we want to do is basically get another 5 turns of terrain up. Now, my opponent has Fini, so I have to deal with that, but whatever. Because I actually really think Max Spectre could be really good if we manage to heal it back to full. Mainly because Metagross has all these defense boosts right now, right? So, Glide comes out. Oh, Grimmsnarl actually hangs on thanks to the... yeah, thanks to the boosts. Okay. But the thing is, as soon as Dynamax is over, like, Metagross is not applying any offensive pressure to us, right? So they're going to target Rillaboom there, and it's going to do an okay amount. But at the end of the day, you know, with your max mon, you normally want to pick up 3 KOs or 2 KOs or even a KO. But here we were fortunate enough to make it through Dynamax without any of our Pokemon fainting, which is very good for us. The other question I have here is whether or not they actually have, like, because they keep going for Steel Spikes, I was wondering if, like, they have Hailstorm or not, but going for all these defense boosts makes sense. Now what we want to do is basically pivot Comfey and Spectre out next to each other at the same time. And how we can do that is U-turn in a Grimmsnarl. That should KO Grimm. Actually, maybe Grimm survives from that. I don't know. It's very bulky. Thing is that Stakataka's in a pretty good spot now. I could just snowball Stakataka, truth be told. And just Shadow Ball Metagross in the late game. Like, we can max right now. Knuckle. And U-turn. I'm fine with this route, honestly. Yeah. Because, like, I have Rillaboom to deal with Fini. It's just kind of hard to get Spectrier and Comfey out next to each other at the same time right now. Like, I don't see how I guarantee that. Yeah, I don't see how I guarantee that. Thunder Wave. I mean, we were lucky enough to get a dodge. Okay, they were trying to go for a Paraflinch, probably to prevent Trick Room, but we weren't going for Trick Room here anyway. They also probably don't want to activate Weakness Policy right now. Is there anything I can get value of from getting an attack boost in? Not really. I think we'll just go out in a Comfey here. So the cool thing with Stakataka is if you pick up KOs, you get, like, you know, 2 boosts. One from Beast Boost and then one from... It's a big Thunder Wave miss, though, right? Like, if they connect on that Thunder Wave... Like, we've definitely gotten pretty lucky here. If they connect on that Thunder Wave, then the, Then the what? If you connect on the Thunder Wave, then... that's just 3 turns where I have to deal with a potential full para. And that could make things scary, right? Like, the odds are still in our favor, but yeah, it's a good Thunder Wave from my opponent's end. And I think Thunder Wave Iron Head makes a lot of sense. You don't want to go for a ground-type attack, potentially activating Policy since they don't know our item. And it also potentially denies us Trick Room if that's what we were going for. So we're lucky enough to dodge a Thunder Wave there, and that makes this endgame easier for us. Because things could get always messy when you add something like Thunder Wave to the mix. Okay, so Fini switches out. We have Helping Hand. I mean, I can just Helping Hand max Steel Spike here. I think that's the best play to go for. Wait, I mean, okay, low-key, there is a Fini. This has Water-type attacks. Maybe we should set Trick Room up here instead. Yeah, I like that more. So, max Rockfall into Tapu Fini and Trick Room. Because I don't even think Iron Head Muddy Water KOs Comfey here. Yeah, like, that does damage, but not really enough, right? Accuracy drop's a little bit scary. We're just gonna Iron Head here. Yep, with the burn we survive. Just need to avoid a flinch right now. But honestly, I can't be mad if flinch happens, like, given how today has played out. I could have just Helping Hand Rockfall there. That actually would have just KO'd Fini. And gotten stand up and given me another Beast Boost. Nice. Comfey's clutch here, though. Doesn't flinch. Okay. RNG has definitely been on our side, I feel like, in the last couple of episodes. Although I guess Game 4 yesterday was a disaster for us in the end. But we've definitely been pretty lucky. Okay, I don't think there's anything my opponent can do at this point, bar critting Stakataka. We can always heal Stakataka basically back to full here. Not back to full, but pretty close. I could also switch out Comfey right now. We should just go for another defense boost. Steel Spike onto Fini. Okay, I don't mind switching out into Rillaboom here because that allows my Comfey to hang around for a little bit longer, which means more Helping Hand support later on in the endgame. This is definitely a slower paced team, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to feature it today. Like, we've used a lot of not hyper offense, but, you know, I like featuring different styles of teams, and because it fits different players with different play styles, right? So Fini protects here, but that's honestly fine. Like, the main thing is getting a defense boost, and this is why I was so confident as soon as I said we were going to hit that Will-O-Wisp. Like, I was like, okay, we probably win the game, because look at what Metagross can do right now, right? The answer is just not very much at all. I could have gone for Helping Hand Steel Spike there, actually. That would have given me 2 defense boosts, probably would have accelerated the game a little bit faster, but since my opponent actually hasn't revealed their last Pokemon yet, could be Incin, might as well cover for that. Either way, you can see with these defense boosts and that burn on Metagross, Metagross is basically useless for my opponent, right? So, this is a key lesson in Pokemon. Sometimes you can actually use that to your advantage, right? Like, my opponent having Metagross out on the field actually helps us more than it helps them, because it does no damage, and it means that they only have 1 Pokemon that's actually applying pressure to us at any given point. So, yeah, Metagross has all these defense boosts, but you don't do any damage. I mean, this is kind of actually what happened to us in that last game with Stakataka, right? But for us in that last game, fortunately, we at least had Stakataka with Rock Slide, and Rock Slide can flinch under Trick Room. I actually also think if my opponent just, I don't know why I'm thinking about this just now, but in that last game, if they actually didn't protect Lapras, we would have lost, I think. If they just went for Freeze Dry or Hydro Pump that turn. So, yeah. They still have a lot of turns to reflect up, but we have grassy terrain and we're at +2 defense. I'm down to just body press Garchomp and fake out Metagross here. Body press isn't going to KO Garchomp, but okay, they actually don't protect either Pokemon. Okay, but like the thing is, what's Garchomp going to do, right? We have +2 defense and we have Shuka Berry, so like you really shouldn't do that much to us. And now Glide plus body press will KO Garchomp. I guess a crit here can still win them the game. Oh, but they go for Breaking Swipe. Okay, nice. Cool. Yeah, this is a very like slow-paced, methodical team, and it's very different from what we've used thus far. But that's what makes it fun. You just have to be careful because a team like this is very vulnerable to critical hits. So like make sure you basically ask yourself every turn, okay, what if my opponent crits right now? Can I lose the game off that? Red screen wears off. How many turns of Trick Room are left? 2. And now this actually paves the way for Spectrier just with Shadow Ball in this end game, which is good. So I'm down to Body Press Garchomp and Grassy Glide onto it. I don't know if that's actually going to KO it though. But like once again, like even if Garchomp protects here, Metagross is not doing anything noteworthy. Okay. I don't think Body Press actually KOs, but Draining Kiss will finish off Garchomp at this point. Actually hangs out with 1 HP. No way. Oh, but this is interesting now. Yeah, you can Stomping to get rid of my berry. And then you know what would be cool? Earthquake here to activate your own weakness policy. Oh, it's just double Stomping though, okay. Alright, well, they knocked out STAKATAKA, so job well done. Job well done. But I don't think, like, because we have Spectrier, like, that's why I wanted to conserve Spectrier this entire dang game, right? So I could Shadow Ball Metagross in the very end. Makes me wonder what the item on Garchomp is. We can bring in Comfey now. Yeah, that was a big survival on Garchomp. I mean, if Garchomp faints, their game's instantly over, but actually hangs out with 1 HP. Last turn of Trick Room, +1 defense, -1 attack, 2 turns of Grassy Terrain. I think it's always Floral Healing here into Rillaboom, especially because we have 2 turns of terrain left. Yeah. We go Floral Healing here into Rillaboom, and we go for a Glide. Oh, actually, I like Floral Healing U-turn here. No, but then they might outspeed. But we're healing ourselves anyway, right? So, yeah, I don't need to worry about that. Yeah, Floral Healing U-turn here, because then I can reconserve Fake Out. And they don't protect with Garchomp. Yeah. Is it AV Garchomp by any chance? Very likely could be. And we're faster than Metagross under Trick Room, actually. Nice. Cool. So, this knocks out Garchomp. You know what? I actually don't like that play, because if they crit Spectrier here... Can they KO? Wait, that was not a good play. That was not a good play at all. Like, because Spectrier is the win condition here. Okay, they don't crit, but that wasn't a good play. I would never make that play again. I would have just stayed in and clicked Grassy Glide. Yeah, that is a good example of how you can actually throw a game away. I didn't play towards my Spectrier win condition properly enough. I mean, like, what, 23 out of 24 times? Like, we win if they don't crit, but if they crit there, they actually could win. Because, like, at that point, we don't have damage into Metagross. So, I really don't like that last turn on my end. I'm just going to Helping Hand Shadow Ball now. Actually, I mean, they haven't revealed Bullet Punch. It's safer, actually, to heal ourselves here. I'm just going to take the safe route here. Go Floral Healing. Actually, there's no way they have Bullet Punch. So, we're just Helping Hand Shot. I don't know. I mean, like, I think Floral Healing might be better here. Floral Healing Taunt. Actually, that's actually the correct play. Floral Healing Taunt. Just to get around a potential Bullet Punch crit. Like I said, with a team like this, because games go on for so long, you really have to ask yourself what could go wrong at any given point and whether or not you're vulnerable to losing to a critical hit. And in this game, honestly, the answer was yes. I'm guessing Garchomp was AV, given that they never protected. So, I should have absolutely stayed in with Rillaboom. I didn't really need to conserve Fake Out and bring it back in. So staying in and just going for Glide onto Rillaboom would have been better for sure. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, this is always why it's important to reflect on your games, whether it be a win or a loss, because that was a win, but, like, it's not a great win by any means because of that one partial mistake that I made. So in the end, yeah, like, we don't get punished for it, but, like, we could have, right? That's how you throw away a game, and in Pokemon, it's always about securing those end games. So yeah, like, a team like this takes a lot of mental fortitude, a lot more than, like, the hyper offense teams, because your games will go from, like, 15 to 20 minutes rather than, like, 7 to 10, right? Where if you use a more fast pace, like Tailwind team, for example, or something that is not very bulky, then, you know, your games go, like, end faster because you're winning faster. But with a team like this, you often are going to try to stall out your opponent's max before maxing. So keep that in mind if you try out this team, because, yeah, you know, we ended up winning the matches today, but, like, I feel like I definitely made some careless plays in Game 2 and Game 3, especially towards the end game. So should have taunted Dusclops in Game 2. Game 3 should not have switched out into Spectrier because I left myself vulnerable to a critical hit. I guess it would have been interesting, like, theoretically, we could have still won anyway. I just don't think we do enough damage with Rillaboom, because, like, high horsepower doesn't do enough. So, yeah, I actually just straight up lose to a crit there, and that was basically a guaranteed win if I didn't switch in Spectrier. So, yeah. Yeah. I wish I could say I play perfectly every time, but the reality is that, like, I make mistakes very often on Road to Rank. But that's the thing. Pokemon is, like, you know, the best players are the ones who are able to play perfectly or very, like, well consistently over a long period of time. But everyone makes mistakes, right? And I'm glad I can make these mistakes so that you can learn from them as well as myself, obviously. Anyway, that was a doozy of a match and a doozy of a day, but some really fun games. So yeah, this is definitely very different from some of the other teams we featured, but I hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much as always for watching Road to Ranked. If you did enjoy, please share support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to answer the question of the day and check out the team in the description below, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.